All right, I think we've got everything we need. It's been a while. Let's see if I remember how to do this camera thing. Hey guys, welcome to Envision Prototypes. If you're new to our channel, I'm Nick, and today we're going to be building a set of taillights for Plum Crazy, or Gangrene. It used to be called Gangrene, now it's Plum Crazy. 3 guesses why. The car, when we got it, had nothing. Look what we just dragged in. The whole car was basically rotted out, and all we ended up with was a shell, which is perfect because it's all we needed. To go with the theme of the car, the original tail lights, throw another picture up. See those kind of longitudinal with the bars type of thing? Well, that's not really going to work with the theme we're running with. So we're going to create our own. And we're going to start off with some sheet metal here. Some templates that I pulled a long time ago, and for some reason they kind of got damp and warped. That's okay, I got the general shape. And these pieces here, which will become the tail lights, one on each end. And when you put them all together, see if it'll fit on in the same shot, same frame. I think that's what you call it. Oh, I got it backwards. Just try to get this. We're going to have something that looks like that. It's going to sit into the bumper recess at the back. The front has a bumper too. We got to build a grill for that yet, but not today. So, oh yeah, and we're going to incorporate a detail here, an emblem of sorts that'll kind of sit in the middle. Right now, what I need to focus on is this part here. And over the past little while, I've kind of gutted a set of tail lights that came with the Infinity. So I've got some lenses here, they're LED, and that's the emblem. Backer plates, those are the LEDs, these little things here. Could have gone to a farm supply store and got those implement tail lights. They wouldn't look right. It would look like we went to a farm supply store and put some trailer or tractor lights on it. That wouldn't work. So based on all these pieces here, I have it, or had a template. It's not here. Ah, here we are. Cardboard template, that's what we started with. Transposed to masonite. And on this template we have some spacing going on here. Quickly lay it out. We've got enough here for driver's side in. I've labeled this stuff earlier. That's the other side, driver's side out. Nope, not that one. One of these, driver's side center. We're going to set something up like this. These don't need that. Now, I'll try and tilt this up a little bit so you guys get an idea. So we'll have 2 larger brake lights, signal lights on the outside of the housing, and then one on the inside. You're not going to see any of this because I'm going to get some acrylic, red acrylic, and we're going to make a lens to cover it. It's brown, but it's covered with paper. We're going to make a lens that will cover up these housings. So all you will see through the acrylic shining through is are the LEDs. So to go from this to sheet metal, we can do this 2 different ways. I can create a hammer form using some high density MDF, cut this out in MDF, I cut another piece and sandwich a sheet metal in between the two and roll it down. Or I can use this as the actual template lay it out onto the sheet metal, and just roll the edges a little bit over. If you need to roll over a lot, that's where a hammer form comes in. It helps you shrink the metal down along the flange into itself. But we're not rolling over a huge flange because the depth of the light and the depth we have to work with back there. We're going to basically create ½ inch, maybe 3/4 at the most, flange rolled over. Then we'll create a band, another one, to extend it out to the depth that we need. When the car comes back into here, we can scribe the actual shape, bring them together, put some fasteners, and have that exterior lens piece, sheet metal bracket, separate from this. And that way, if you ever have to do anything to this, you don't have to peel the acrylic off of our little housing. I know with factory lenses and stuff like that, you have to heat the outside edge. It takes a little bit of work, finesse, to peel them off. You can get them off sometimes without breaking them. Sometimes you're not so lucky. So we're done with this for now. Just wanted to show you where we're going. It has been extremely busy with everything going on here at the shop. Everybody wants their stuff, and I finally got a few minutes to put together a video. Like, I find myself dozing off at night editing. It's awful. We'll need this larger piece for the center section, which again will have to be spaced out so the whole plane straight through from end to end is one smooth surface. I don't want any steps in it. So this piece here that I pulled out is, I guess we can make it all out of this piece since that piece is more or less square. Just trying to utilize the material the best we can. This stuff has gotten expensive. There we go. Move this back over here. Yeah, we'll get onto that shortly. That's another project we have going on that we've been kind of picking at, the boring stuff. And I found some stuff on it that's going to blow your mind. You're never going to, once you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it. But we'll do that later. These should be identical, side to side. Okay. Bang on. And I actually tailor fit them to the bumper rear opening before the body left. So how do we do this? Best way, oh, look at that. Only problem with this is I don't have enough space to roll a flange. Nope, not enough. Darn. Okay, we'll work right here. Okay, that's going to drive me crazy. Pardon me for a second. These housings are rolling around. Much better. I like peace and quiet. Nope. Okay, that's one. That's driver's side. Driver's side in. Flange will have to roll out. That's good. And we have, how much of a flange do you think we should roll over? I think ½ an inch is sufficient. Oh yeah, ½ inch. Center, 6. Strike a line. Okay, before we cut this out, if we cut this out at this point here, we will be too short. We'll shortchange ourselves. So I'm going to grab some, that's close. I'm going to show you a way that you can very easily add ½ an inch without any fuss or muss. We're going to use some ½ inch tape. If I can find the end. Come on. I should do a hammer form sometime for something. I don't know yet what. Maybe a fuel door or a fuel door access. We'll see. But by the time I make that hammer form, sometimes, well, they are useful. I can't say they're not. They have their time and place. But today, I need to ensure I need to go to the inside. That's one thing I have to think about, is this fits the hole exactly. So we need to step in a little bit so that we have a little bit of wiggle room. I mean, by a little, I mean like 1/8 of an inch, 3/16. Metric equivalent, I don't know. At 5 millimeters? So what I'm doing is I'm going on top of the red line. I haven't even had time to get that Chrysler out very much. I think twice in the past 3 weeks. It's pathetic. Good. So that's going to, oh, hang on. I almost forgot these. Yeah, one was to get gas and the other time was to a show. So I really should get her out more. And there we have our 2 pieces with the flange all the way around. So now we can go ahead, cut this out, and go to the tipping wheel and roll that flange. And I'm going to show you, for those guys who are new, a way that we can roll this flange without this fancy tipping wheel that I have. It's not fancy, but something to put together. So this is called a tipping wheel. Put the sheet metal in on the bottom side, roll it up against a knife edge, and the flange sticks out over here. So that'll allow us to roll that much over. If you don't have that, you can use this. This vise. Just put it over the edge, roll it down. You can use a chunk of steel here and piece of I-beam, roll it over the edge. Or you can take something like this, a railroad iron there. And you can roll it over an edge like that. As long as you have a nice sturdy edge, you're good to go. It's nice to have a shop full of tools, but the thing is, can you use all of them on a regular basis? And real estate is really scarce at times. What the heck is that about? 2 right hands. Left, right. This won't work. Okay, let's see what we got here. Right, 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 left. Perfect. Put those there. Just go to the Jungle website. These are called VGOs. And get yourself a pair. They do save you from injuries from time to time. Most of the times, not all the time. Okay, let's just do a rough cut and then we'll just finalize it. second I thought I cut it the wrong way. Okay, let's label this correctly now. Driver's side out, passenger side out. In North America, that's what we call left side, right side. Let's go tip this. Now, we're not going to get too far tipping this because we have these corners, and that's going to be impossible to bunch up that much material. So what the heck is that? Tape. So we're just going to take and cut the corners this side. We'll roll these corners. Make it a little bit easier to deal with. We just weld them later. You might be wondering, why didn't we do the tail lights earlier? Well, that's something that we can do while the car is being prepared for paint. See how that works? Just roll it through. This is just a simple skateboard wheel. Okay, now maybe I messed up already. Nope. We'll just have to bring that corner up after, because this vertical flange prevents me from standing it up against this. That's where the hammer and dolly come in. This is going to be nice. The old taillights, or the original taillights, had a big space around them with the molding and all that stuff. We've kind of eliminated all that. Just tailored the car. Okay, that's about as far as I can roll it up with this machine, with this tipping wheel, because I need to take this material, it's bunching up, you can see it's kind of rippling, and mash it into itself. And I'll do that on the table. You can also see that it's starting to lose its flat shape, and this has to be perfectly flat. So we'll get that addressed. But before I do, I'm going to show you how we can do this flange, at least part of it, because it takes more time, with the vise. When we initially laid this out, I indicated driver's side in, and I had this perimeter here, and I had to redraw it on this side to use a tipping wheel. While this side here, I was anticipating to use the vise, and that's why I did it this way. So you basically get a straight edge. It doesn't have to be a vise, it can be whatever those other things I showed you, angle iron or whatever you have, and just get creative. And we can just line up with that edge and roll it over using a hammer. And you don't do it all at one time, you'll mess it up. Just start rolling it over. You get a feel for where it has to be. And once it gets over, it kind of holds itself. But I'm bending it on the inside of the red line because I need this housing to be a bit smaller. I mentioned that. And a light tap. You don't bash it. Nice and light. You could bash it if you wanted to, but show it who's boss. One thing that's going to happen, it's already happening as I'm rolling it over, is starting to curve. And that curved as well, same amount. So I'll show you how we take care of that. See, those people said, oh, tail lights in the thumbnail. What's he going to do? Well, we're actually doing sheet metal work for tail lights. And there we have it, a nice soft bend. It's not making too much of a mess. A couple little hammer marks. You got to be consistent. Should I go all the way around? Nah, I'm not going to. You guys get the idea. Let me finish this up in the tipping wheel, and then we'll get over the table and take it to the next step. Go grab a beer or a cold one or a beverage. Okay, so you can see that it's not sitting flat. It's starting to curve. This edge has to be shrunk. It's opening up. Same as the one we hammered or used the tipping wheel. It's also got a bit of a curve. So that's where we're going to take our dolly. This one, nice flat with a relatively sharp edge. And place it in there, roll it up the rest of the way. The corners are going to be tricky. If I try rolling it horizontally like I did the edge, it's going to move the radius outward because it's going to bend in the wrong spot. So I need to come in from the bottom side. This is something you'll learn as you're doing this, you know. And some of the people say, oh, it's so much hammering. Well, find another way to do it and you'll have less hammering. You can buy a tool, kind of a slapping machine, that'll do it, but that'll set you back a couple bucks. Hammers, you can use just about anything. See that? We started with one or two kind of bunched up areas to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them now. That's a sign that things are starting to come together. Helps with the blood flow. You drop your arm like that, it kind of runs down again. Now I'm onto the fine-tuning, final adjustment stage. Got the corners radiused, just about. Got to clean them up a little bit. And now just cleaning up the flanges. This is one of the reasons I like a wooden table instead of a steel bench, because it allows the material to kind of, you're not peeling it, is what I'm trying to say. One taillight housing, and you can see that, yeah, okay, you can see that I've got a pretty consistent bend all the way along, and then it kind of creeps out that way. That's what I was trying to avoid. So I got to roll that up. These corners have come in, we'll just weld that later. Let me adjust this here. Okay, we're good. We're flat. Except okay, so that's one. Sits flat. Now there is another alternative that you can use, and I don't like to speak of it because it just makes things really easy and then very complicated later. You can cut, and then roll them all together, weld it, grind it, finish it, make it look nice, hopefully, probably not. Right there, we have one flange continuous all the way up. Needs a little bit of fine tuning. When the bumper's back, we can fit it in, see how it looks, and fine tune it if we need to. But I'm basing this on my template, driver's side, and I am a little bit off. So, we have to first remember that this is going to be set back a little bit. And our lens is going to fit the perimeter of that bumper. Should go this way. These corners here, this is going to be set back. So it doesn't have to be exact, but I want it to be exact. So we'll address it using this as a guide now. Two. Yep. One done. Go get another drink. I'll do this one. There we go. Passenger side piece done, and this is flat. Yeah. We just need enough material to bury these lights. We don't need to build up too high. No, that's the other thing I was going to mention. This is half inch flange, and you see how much it took to roll it up. The longer the flange, so you want to say, oh, let's do a 1 inch flange. That's going to be a lot more work to bring that together. So that's where a hammer form would, come in handy. Or cut. Weld. Grind. Yeah, that's going to be up. I like that. Driver's side out. So we do have some fastening holes. There has to be a hole made there. Get rid of this template. And I should indicate a few things, because this all corresponds to the backup lights in the bumper, lower fascia. That one, middle, and that one. Yeah, there should be another screw there. There we go. Driver's side. Yes. Maybe the next step, instead of making that flange, I could make it, but the next step would be to, I don't mean in steps in terms of like you're going to build a set of taillights, follow this exactly. Just trying to teach you the why along with the how. Does that make sense? The why along with the how? How? Okay. So our depth is 3.5, say. Yeah, 3.5 inches. So a band plus a 1/2 inch. This is something we can do in the brake too. If we say 3.5, let's say 4. Give us some material for scribing, just in case, because we don't want the acrylic touching these lenses. So let's make it 4 plus a 1/2 inch. And how long? There's a hour again. Six, 24, 6, 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 22. 27. Say 44 inches. What do we have that's 44 inches? Nothing. Okay. Yes, I do, right there. I'll have to dig it out. That's one thing I didn't plan on. Instead of piece, maybe do pieces. Instead of wrapping it, no, we want to seal this thing up. We want a little, maybe a little bit of silicone or RTV sealant around the perimeter, just so the moisture doesn't get in and affect the circuitry. Because, like I mentioned earlier, these have little circuit boards in here. We don't want water getting in. So we'll make it watertight. There'll be a grommet back here for the signal. Where did that? That's backup light? Yeah, I think so. Ah, there we are. That's a signal light. And out of the tail lights, I cut these out. So in those, there's a pattern for little cogs or teeth I have to go through and turn and lock in. So little things. But we won't get to that till later. This will probably be another multi-part episode because it's a lot of work. Okay. There's a hole there. There's a bump there and a bump there. A screw there. I'm just trying to analyze and see what we have to work with. I don't think anybody's ever used existing taillights and made their own from that. At least I haven't seen anything like that on YouTube. Tooth. Yeah, we can shave that off. Need that to hold that. Screw coming from the back through the sheet metal to hold that. This one gets screwed down that. Yeah. Kind of avoiding the thought of going into the sheet metal rack and digging out some sheet metal. If I can indicate, that goes that way, that goes that way, make a mark here, here. Yeah. Okay. We're going to do some shaving. We'll actually decrease the height of these a little bit. That tooth that's sticking up, that one there, and part of this thing that's sticking up, I'm going to shave them flat. Yes, I like that. Reason why? I've got a tiny hole right there in the housing that I can mark on the back side, create a spacer, probably a tube of sorts, a little pipette, brake line 316, no, 516, something like that. Run a screw through that. That'll space up our housing without the lens and allow us to mount the housing, drill through, get the lenses mounted. Yeah. The lights will be the very last thing we do. We just need to start nailing this down. See, I've got a second hole there, which is perfect. Yeah. So we're gonna go one by one by one, or one by one by one, we'll see, with mounting them. Then we'll create that flange, because as it is, by trimming that off, I've saved ½ an inch. So might not have to do such a wide strip. I almost forgot that I had these stainless steel screws, self-drilling, self-tapping variety. So they should work out quite well. I'm going to reassemble this thing again. Uh-oh. Oh, there we are. I lost my screw. It goes like that. Fell out. That's supposed to be magnetized. So that means don't want to strip it. Okay. That'll drop right through here, I think. Yep. Spacer. And, oh, don't tell me we're too short. Nope. Perfect. So there we have one light mounted. I can go ahead and mount the second one. I need shorter screws. Yeah. And we can pre-drill that for that. Yeah, it's going to work out quite well. Okay. We need to make sure these are perfectly spaced, because like I mentioned, the backup lights are spaced in relation to this layout that I chose. And in terms of layout, getting to it now, I guess, I chose large, small, large. Could have done it multiple ways, but I felt that the smaller one in the middle, 2 exterior, brake, signal, looked good. So. Go. Take this all apart again. This is the part nobody sees. All the back and forth, back and forth. That's, oops, we need this spacer. And there we have the first light mounted. So what I'm looking at right now is to line up all the LEDs in the horizontal plane. So if this one all works out, then I'll just go through, count how many spacers we need, cut them all ahead of time, get all the screws ready. You know, first one's prototyping, second one's production and refinement. Technically, I should be able to lay this one, once it's done, back to back with that one. Line them up, drill all the holes. long as we make sure this one's perfect. Here we have our 3 lights mounted. We do have to bury some circuit boards in here. These little guys, and come on, there you go. This little guy here, and I will take care of that later. It will fit down inside, so I'm not worried about that. Yeah, I can put on the center one. There's actually a pin there, screwed to the back side. That'll be perfect. So I'm not getting into that today. What we need to do is determine, that looks cool. You can see it has a dish to it. It's not perfectly flat. So I like that look. I like that look. Yeah. Plastic. So now we need to take and measure the depth of this. Take some sheet metal, create a band that goes around the perimeter so we can scribe a piece of acrylic and place the acrylic over the end of this. And we'll probably glue the acrylic, we will glue the acrylic to that band once it's all painted. There'll be a black band around there, so it'll look quite nice. We're sitting at 3 1/4. So if I make it 3 1/2 plus, I've been looking for this trim piece. Put it in a safe spot in a corner that we weren't using at the moment. Oop. And that's gonna be it. There we go. So that is what we need to form our perimeter with. The leg, actually, it's a bit overbent. Just straighten it up a little bit. And now we can go ahead and form this. It really came out nice. This is the driver's side. Here's the driver's side. Yep. This is for the other side. I think what we'll also do, I don't know if we'll get to the cutting the acrylic today. I'd like to, but what we will do is we'll form up the centerpiece. Just trying to get my train of thought here. We'll start there. We'll make our joint on a corner. Uh-oh. So that'll be 90 degree. That one we can cut. And yeah, starting here, we gotta shrink, shrink, shrink to the radius there. Let's try shrinking it. It's only 22 gauge, so it shouldn't be too bad. But we need to do a gradient shrink there, radius shrink around the corner, which should be okay, I guess. And we'll just keep working our way around till we meet the other corner. Stand up. I'm not going to bother cutting this just yet because we know what needs to be done there. Let's do a little gentle shrinking here. And you see what I mean? That's about 10 pumps there, and I'm barely making a dent. All right, let's see how. Oh yeah, got to make sure that we are progressing the right way. So from there to there, we've gained that much. We have a ways to go. Ooh, wow, we're getting closer. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, got the radius coming in quite nicely. Yeah, right there. Just line things up. I can take and bring this in a bit more, tuck it in, open that. Let me do that before we do anything else there. Open that up. Maybe too much. I think that's going to be it. This has a taper out and a slight radius along the bottom, so let's address that. Mark it, cut it, bend it, done. Okay, so just checking everything that's lining up really well there. I'm going a little bit smaller than this template, just a hair, give us some wiggle room. We're going to put paint on this, primer paint, and I don't want to scratch it off trying to get in. So as long as I have about an 1/8. Yeah, no, 1/8, 16th. Once I have a 16th, I'm not going to measure it, it's about a 16th. I can feel the catch. We can now take and bend that, cut this one off, and right side taillight is done. Left side, driver's side. Good. Good. Let's cut that off. You know what? I'm going to go a little bit more, and that way we can bend it and not have to weld a corner. I always talk about not having to bend a corner or weld a corner. It's good there. Went over there somewhere. So now we can just roll that in, made it up with that. And we don't cut this. That was just a line to bend on. I'm reminding myself. So now how do we bend that? I'm going to put in the brake. I have a finger brake. If you don't have a finger brake, use a straight edge. Something like a railroad iron. A lot of these kicking around, various abandoned railroads. Just dig one up, tied behind your truck, bring it home. Okay, now we're gonna have a step there. I don't want a step, so I'll just cut that, 45 it, done. And here, that lines up there. We can extend it. And that way, you don't have to weld on a corner. Give you a nice factory edge. and bring that in like that. Look at that. You can go on the inside, you can go on the outside, like that. What I can do though is go on the inside, tap it together, clamp it, and put the weld on the inside. And that way we don't have to finish it. You could, but I mean, we're talking 1/16 of an inch overlap. Factory, baby. Before I go welding, let's fit this up to the template as well as to that housing we made earlier with the lights. See how it looks. I might cut some of this away. Seems to be a bit much to me right now. We'll see. And it's holding itself. I'm not clamping it or nothing. Look at that. Oh, that's as I said, it's a cat's meow. Yes. Very nice. Right on. Okay. So I'm going to bring this together, clamp it, weld it. I have to cut these corners. If you're wondering, this is an old pair. They do wear out after time, and it's perfect for stuff like this. Look at that miter. Bang on. Next one. And that's how we're going to leave it. Reason why? It's on 2 tacks, very sturdy. I want to make sure that it fits the bumper before we go any further. That's going to go in right here like that. Oh, okay, no problem. Okay, I need to tighten up these corners. See how they're very radiused, and that's very sharp. So back to the angle iron, tighten them up, and it should fit. If you had a pull max, you just throw this in the pull max, and it'll do it for you. I'm kidding. Just in case. I mentioned a watertight seal. It sure as heck will be. There we go. And we have a lot of wiggle room to fine-tune this in the car. I have 3/4 of an inch there and 5/8 there. Let's see. And I was going to do the acrylic, but we're going to say that it's pretend acrylic day with that piece there. Reason why? I'm sure most of you come to the same conclusion, or to some conclusion, that if we cut this out, I don't want to trace this, get this all cut out, spend the time to do it, and then find out that we need to make some adjustments here and get messed up on our acrylic when we fit it to the car. So, unfortunately, let's put it this way. Fortunately, we got this housing and lights mounted for the tail light. New tail lights on the Charger. I'm plumb crazy. Did I mention what color it's going to be? Describes the car to a T. Great. Now, I'm going to get some screws, run them in. We will have to address this flange. I'm not dialing this into 150,000% best good looking piece ever on YouTube. This is stage one. Stage two, we'll get this in the car, make sure it works. After this video, you guys are going to go on to other stuff. I'm going to make the second one, the passenger side one, right side one, and get that all fitted up. That's a good spot right there. That's not a good spot. Perfect. And if that wasn't clamped, we'd be in trouble. Woohoo. Look at that, it's staying on its own. Technically, we shouldn't need this. Reach in there with a vice grip. It might work better than fingers. Something like that. And yeah, I did say that I was going to make that center panel. We can make some of it. That'll be the little extra. But guess we'll have to play Russian roulette with this self-drilling, self-tapping screw. Ta-da. And I will replace these with stainless screws so they won't rust. Done, done, done. Voila. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Shavings. So all these lights are nicely visible. This part here that I couldn't quite shrink down enough, not visible. It's cut off a little bit. So we could do one of two things. We could move that light up, which would throw that line of horizontal LEDs off, or I can disassemble all this, which is what I sort of expected, and bring that out. Now I'm going to cut it off, just going to bring it out to expose that light. And what I think I will do as well is knock off something like that. Other than that, we have ourselves a very sexy light housing. That's not good. Hear that? Why is it doing that? I'll have to put one more screw there. Or what we'll do is just caulk that. And then if you ever have to do anything with the lights, the circuits, whatever, you're not trying to pull that. Pretend this is the red Lexan or acrylic. We're not trying to pull this off to access that. We just take these screws out for them, separate it, done. Okay, done. Feels nice. So as I mentioned before, this is our template here. Put that there. It's gotten warped, not a problem. All we're going to do is measure the width, the length, and what we're going to do is bend 2 flanges, one there, one there. Hold that thought. How do we mount it in the car? It's nice to have a panel, but how do you mount it? While I was having my lunch, I came up with a few sketches. That's for taillights, don't need to see that. And what we have here, schedule, is we need to find the depth of this panel, which is going to be kind of tricky because we don't know the depth of the lights that they're going to sit at. And yet I do want to bend this up for you guys right now. So let us run with this width here, 3.5. 3.5. We'll add something inside the car, an angle to pick up, or some tabs, pick up on those tabs. The bottom has to slide in and clip in. You reach to the top, it'd be kind of tricky to reach down through that distance. You'd be losing screws in here and they'd be rattling around. So let's go 3.5, top and bottom flanges, end flanges, give it an inch because it doesn't matter on the ends. And we'll cut that hole out for that emblem later. I'll surprise you with that one. All right, 3.5, 3.5, yeah. Yeah, makes sense. The bottom goes in. We'll deal with the bottom when we get there. Right now it's going to come in 3.5 inches. The most critical dimension here is the height. The depth, we're going 3.5. We can always pick up something, run some fasteners down after the fact. And 6, okay. Yeah, that's fine. And then we need 3.5 again. This is kind of like the lead up to the reveal. The paint reveal. Believe me, it's coming. Just like I mentioned earlier, it's been very hectic here, and I'm just trying to, keep everybody happy. 34. Okay, now we're going to bend this. And we're going to bend it 90 degrees. And there we have it. Now, this width here at the top, it's 3.5 based on our tail lights, but in the center, it actually gets narrower. So we'll be able to roll this up, roll the bottom down. The bottom, we'll be able to squeeze it, slide it in. It snaps into a little channel, if you will, kind of pops in. And the top, series of fasteners, or a series of fasteners in from the top. Then there'll be a cover piece between the body and the bumper that'll seal that. So, had a few minutes to think about it, and that's how we're going to do it. Now, the other thing with this particular design, the bumper has a slight peak to it. Kind of, well, you'll see when you see the car. So we have enough room here to, I won't be able to shrink this much, but this is where I can cut this, take out a piece, a wedge, and peak this panel. And in the center, we'll put our emblem. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this episode on making it, well, part one of making a tail light for the all-wheel drive Charger we're building. For those who are new and stuck around to the end, you want to see what the car looked like, check out the previous videos, see what we started with. I'm sure it's going to shock you when you see the car in its almost present state next time you see it. I'm not sure if it's going to be next week or maybe the week after. We'll see how things go. I almost forgot. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new to our channel, and share our videos with your friends. We really appreciate it. Thanks.